Dreams arrive like whispers from a place that does not belong to the daylight. They slip through the cracks of sleep, woven in fragments of images, voices, and impossible landscapes. We are taught to believe they are ours alone, reflections of our fears, desires, and memories stitched together by a resting brain. But what if that belief is only the surface, a veil drawn across a deeper truth? What if your dreams are not simply yours at all, but messages from another version of you, echoing across the boundaries of time and dimension? Consider the way a dream feels, sometimes alien, as though the thoughts inside it do not belong to you, as though you are stepping into a life already in progress. A world with rules, with stories, with people you know but do not know. Where does that world come from? It is too elaborate to be accidental, too rich to be random. The dream feels less like invention and more like transmission. If consciousness is not confined to the waking self, then perhaps it is a vast field, scattered across countless reflections of you, other versions, living and breathing in timelines you cannot see. Dreams may be the rare moments when those walls grow thin, when you catch a glimpse of what another you is experiencing, and their reality bleeds into your sleep. In those fragments, you receive a message, not in words, but in symbols, not in logic, but in feeling. Every dream then becomes a letter, an encrypted fragment of a conversation happening across dimensions. To dismiss it as mere illusion is to ignore the signal beneath the static. To embrace it is to accept that you are more than a single life. You are a constellation of selves, each leaving traces in the mind of the other. And so the question is not, what did I dream? But, who is trying to speak to me through this dream? When you dream, the boundary between self and other dissolves. You are not just the dreamer, you are also the witness, the actor, and the landscape itself. This strange layering points to something profound. Dreams are not confined to your private mind, but are woven from a field of consciousness that stretches far beyond your waking identity. Ancient traditions knew this. Shamans, mystics, and philosophers saw dreams as portals, bridges where the soul steps beyond the body and encounters other realms. Modern science calls it random firing of neurons. Yet even neuroscience struggles to explain the uncanny precision with which dreams reflect realities you have never lived. Why do people dream of places they've never visited, only to find them later in waking life? Why do strangers in dreams sometimes speak truths you could not have known? These are not accidents, they are signals. Imagine consciousness as a vast ocean, with every version of you floating on its surface like waves. Each life, each timeline ripples across the same field. At night, when the defenses of waking thought fall away, your mind becomes receptive. It tunes like an antenna, catching transmissions from other yous who live parallel stories, selves who succeeded where you failed, selves who carry wounds you have not known, selves who walk paths that diverged from yours long ago. What you call a nightmare might be the echo of another self struggling in their world. What you call a guiding dream may be wisdom borrowed from a version of you who has already walked the path you are now beginning. The dream is not fantasy, it is communication. This changes everything. Instead of dismissing dreams as meaningless, you begin to treat them as encrypted letters from your wider existence. They carry lessons, warnings, and insights that cannot reach you in daylight. The question is whether you are listening. To see dreams in this way is to admit that your life is not singular, but interwoven with countless others. And perhaps, in the quiet language of symbols and visions, those other selves are calling out, not to confuse you, but to guide you. Dreams rarely speak in plain sentences. Instead, they arrive cloaked in symbols. A door may appear, and you feel compelled to open it. A stranger might speak a single phrase that lingers for years. A familiar place may return again and again, though in waking life, you have never been there. These patterns are not random. They are the coded language of the unseen connection between you and your other selves. Symbols in dreams act like keys. A staircase may not simply be a staircase. It may represent your climb toward another version of yourself, higher or lower in vibration. Water may not just be water, but the shared subconscious ocean where countless minds flow together. When fire burns in your dreams, perhaps it is not destruction, but the spark of transformation experienced elsewhere in your greater web of existence. Carl Jung called these recurring symbols archetypes, universal images that appear across all cultures and times. But perhaps these archetypes are not just buried in the collective unconscious. They are active signals flickering across the dimensions of you. Every dream symbol is a fragment of a message, not literal, but resonant. Notice how certain themes repeat. Falling, flying, being chased, meeting someone who feels both unknown and deeply familiar. These are not accidents of the sleeping brain. They are echoes, the same way two mirrors facing each other reflect endlessly. When you dream of falling, maybe another self has stumbled. When you dream of flying, maybe another has broken free. If you begin to map these patterns, you start to see how dreams guide you. They do not offer answers in words, but in images that must be felt, not dissected. Each dream symbol is a brushstroke in a painting too vast for your waking mind to see all at once. The mistake most people make is to dismiss these images as nonsense. Yet when you learn to see them as whispers from another you, they take on weight and meaning. The dream world is not chaos, it is a conversation, and every symbol is a doorway waiting to be opened. If dreams are messages from another you, the question becomes, how do we listen? The first step is simple yet rarely practiced. Remember, most people wake, dismiss the dream, and let it vanish like mist in sunlight. But if you treat your dreams as messages, you must begin by honoring them. Keep a notebook by your bed. The moment you wake, before even speaking a word, write down what you saw, heard, or felt. Even fragments matter. Over time, patterns emerge. You may notice that the same symbol appears again and again, or that certain moods linger across nights. These are not random, they are signals. By charting them, you begin to map the dialogue between your waking self and your other selves. The second step is presence. Instead of trying to interpret everything with logic, feel what the dream evokes. A symbol is not always meant to be solved like a puzzle. Sometimes its power is in the emotion it stirs. A recurring staircase might not reveal its meaning at once, but it may always leave you with the same sensation, anticipation, fear, or wonder. That feeling is the message. The third step is reflection. Ask yourself, what does this dream ask of me? If you dream of losing something precious, maybe it is a warning to treasure what you take for granted. Finally, learn to act. A dream that repeats is not just a story, it is a call. It may ask you to change your habits, reconcile with someone, or explore a path you've ignored. When you honor your dreams, they respond. The messages grow clearer, more vivid, and in listening, you awaken, not just from sleep, but from the illusion that you are only one. As we step back from the world of dreams, it becomes clear that they are far more than fleeting stories. To embrace this is to enter a partnership with your own multidimensional existence. The waking life, with its routines, distractions, and obligations, can obscure this dialogue. You begin to recognize patterns, to sense guidance, to understand warnings that arrive long before circumstance demands attention. The more attentive you are, the clearer the messages become. And in that clarity, transformation occurs. They offer insights in fragments, leaving space for reflection, yet insist that you pay attention. They invite you to consider your life as a continuum, where one choice echoes across multiple versions of your being. They ask that you engage with life with curiosity and courage, seeing each moment not merely as isolated, but as a ripple in the infinite pond of consciousness. Perhaps the most profound lesson is this: listening to your dreams is a practice of listening to yourself, not just the self you recognize, but the greater self whose awareness has always been present, patiently waiting for your recognition. The bridge between sleep and waking, between symbol and action, is where transformation begins. To honor this bridge is to honor the vastness of who you truly are. So tonight, as sleep draws near, remember, your dreams are not just fleeting illusions. They are messages from another you, waiting to be understood. Attend to them, reflect upon them, and let their wisdom guide you. In doing so, you awaken not only to a new understanding of your nights, but to the endless possibilities within your own mind and the infinite selves that reside there.